During the Great Depression, when money dried up and food became scarce, fruit wasn't just a treat, it was survival. Canned goods ran out, harvests failed in many regions, and store-bought staples were out of reach. But in Amish communities, survival often depended on old-world agricultural knowledge and self-reliant food systems. One of their key assets, hardy, homegrown fruits that required little care, stored well, and offered essential nutrition. Many of these fruits were unfamiliar to the wider public then, and even fewer people know about them now. But for Amish families, they were essential tools of resilience. Elderberry. Elderberries grow wild in hedgerows and along fence lines, thriving with minimal human intervention. The Amish valued them for their high vitamin C content and natural medicinal properties. These berries could be foraged easily, then turned into syrups, wines, and jams. During the Depression, elderberry syrup was especially prized for treating colds and infections when commercial medicine was out of reach. The plants are perennial, drought-resistant, and once established, continue producing for decades. Their dual use as food and medicine made them indispensable. Pawpaw. Pawpaws are the largest edible fruit native to North America. With a custard-like interior rich in calories, potassium, and magnesium, they provided dense nutrition. The fruit grows in shaded woods and requires no pesticides or irrigation. Amish families often foraged for pawpaws near creeks and forest edges, then mashed them into puddings or ate them fresh. Because pawpaw trees tolerate poor soil and resist pests, they were ideal during hard times. Unlike many fruits, pawpaws contain enough calories to be considered a substantial meal supplement. Ground cherry. Also known as husk cherries, ground cherries are small fruits encased in papery husks that grow low to the ground. They self-seed reliably, making them a sustainable crop from year to year with little labor. Amish families use them for pies, jams, and dried snacks. Ground cherries have a long post-harvest shelf life if left in their husks and stored in a root cellar. Their late-season ripening mint fresh fruit was available after other crops had finished. Gooseberry. Gooseberries grow on thorny, hardy bushes and are tolerant of cold weather and poor soil. These traits made them reliable producers even in years with minimal maintenance. The Amish grew them for use in pies, sauces, and preserves. High in fiber and vitamin C, gooseberries added critical nutrients to Depression-era diets. Their tart flavor allowed minimal sugar to be used in preserves, which was important during sugar rationing. Juneberry. Juneberries, also called service berries, yield small, dark purple fruits resembling blueberries. They ripen in early summer, making them one of the first fresh fruits available each year. Amish families used them in baked goods, syrups, and dried them for long-term storage. The trees resist disease and are cold hardy, surviving harsh winters without issue. Because they ripened ahead of the main harvest, they filled an important seasonal gap in food availability. Red currant. Red currants are tart berries that grow in clusters on compact bushes. They produce high yields in partial shade and poor soil. Amish households use them to make juice, wine, jelly, and high pectin preserves. Red currant jam was especially valuable because it could be made with minimal sugar. The bushes require little space and can be planted densely, making them ideal for small garden plots. Black raspberry. Black raspberries are hardier than their red counterparts and rich in antioxidants. They grow wild along fence rows and in forest edges, needing little care. The Amish use them for vinegar, syrup, and jam, as well as medicinal infusions. Their canes spread rapidly and can take over unmanaged areas, providing reliable harvests each summer. Their strong flavor meant a little went a long way in preserves and sauces. Crabapple. Crabapples are small, sour fruits that grow on tough, disease-resistant trees. Unlike commercial apple varieties, crabapples require almost no pruning or spraying. Amish families use them for jelly, cider vinegar, and pectin to help set other fruit preserves. Their tartness allowed them to be preserved with less sugar, and their high natural acidity made them excellent for fermenting and long-term storage. Damson plum. The damson plum is small, firm, and tart, ideal for jams and fruit butters. The trees are compact, disease-resistant, and yield heavily even in poor soil. Amish households made damson preserves that kept well through winter. Because of their high sugar and acid content, the fruit required minimal processing. The plums could also be dried, offering another shelf-stable food source. Chokecherry. Chokecherries grow wild in much of the Midwest and Northeast. The fruit is astringent raw, but transforms when cooked. Amish families made jelly, wine, and syrup from them. The bushes spread easily by root suckers, making them a renewable resource with minimal effort. They were also used in medicinal tinctures. Their abundance and ease of harvest made them one of the most practical wild fruits. Mulberry. Mulberries are sweet, dark fruits that fall to the ground when ripe, making harvest simple. The trees grow fast, need little care, and tolerate drought. Amish families dried them for snacks, baked them into pies, or cooked them into thick syrup. High in iron and potassium, they contributed critical minerals to a diet that often lacked variety. A single tree could feed multiple families for weeks. Nanking cherry. Nanking cherries grow on small shrubs and yield fruit in early summer. The fruit is bright red, tart, and best suited for jelly or wine. Amish homesteads appreciated their cold hardiness and early bloom, which provided food before other fruits ripened. The bushes can be used as hedges, saving space while producing food. They also attracted pollinators, helping nearby crops. Wild grape. Wild grapes climb along trellises, fences, or even trees, making them ideal for growing in marginal areas. The Amish used them for juice, wine, and vinegar. The fruit is highly acidic, which allowed it to be preserved with minimal spoilage. Vines grow rapidly without fertilization or spraying. During the Depression, wild grape juice often replaced purchased beverages. Medlar. Medlars look like small, rough apples and are eaten only after bledding, a process of ripening after harvest. This made them especially valuable in late fall and winter. Amish families used medlars in sauces, jams, and cooked dishes. The trees are frost-tolerant, grow in poor soil, and resist pests. Their unique ripening schedule extended the availability of fruit well into winter. Quince. Quince is a dense, tart fruit that becomes edible only after cooking. Amish families turned it into jelly and fruit butter. High in natural pectin, it was often used to help set other preserves. Quinces store well in root cellars for months. The trees are hardy, drought-tolerant, and require little attention. Their long shelf life made them an important winter food. Persimmon. American persimmons ripen in late fall and become sweet only after frost. Amish families dried them or used them in baked puddings. The trees thrive in poor soils and resist most pests and diseases. Because the fruit could hang on the tree well into winter, persimmons served as a natural cold storage solution. They provided sugar and calories when other sources were exhausted. Seckel pear. Seckel pears are small but intensely sweet, with dense flesh that resists bruising. The Amish grew them in home orchards and stored them in cellars or canned them whole. The trees are compact and cold-hardy. These pears kept well into the winter, and their high sugar content made them ideal for preserving. They also fermented well into perry, a traditional pear wine. Highbush cranberry. Not a true cranberry, but similar in use, this shrub produces tart red berries that ripen in late fall. Amish families cook them into sauces or use them to stretch other preserves. The bushes grow in wet soil and tolerate shade, allowing for use in low-value land areas. The berries remain on the bush into early winter, making them a late-season food source. Hackberry. Hackberries are dry, nutty fruits found on large shade trees. Though rarely cultivated, they were foraged by Amish and frontier families. The berries are high in fats, sugars, and protein, making them extremely calorie-dense. Hackberries were often dried and crushed into porridge or meal. The trees are nearly indestructible, growing well even in drought and poor soils. Wild strawberry. Wild strawberries are smaller, but more flavorful than cultivated varieties. Amish children often forage them in meadows and forest edges. While they don't store well, they were eaten fresh or made into quick jams. The plants spread by runners and need no tilling or replanting. Their early season appearance marked the beginning of the foraging calendar. These fruits helped Amish families get through when almost nothing else was reliable. They were easy to grow, simple to preserve, and full of what people needed to stay fed and healthy. Most have been forgotten today, but during the Depression, they made the difference between hunger and survival.